Behind Missouri's scenic beauty lies the story of small towns where residents must fight every day just to get by. This journey will take us down quiet roads through endless cornfields, across the rolling Ozark hills, and out to the fringes of big cities. To see firsthand what life is really like in 15 of the poorest towns in Missouri. This isn't just about numbers and statistics. It's a portrait of inequality, resilience, and the hope that somehow keeps burning, even in the middle of hardship. On the outskirts of St. Louis County lies Jennings, home to about 12,800 people. The median household income here is just around $37,000 a year. More than 1 in 4 residents live below the poverty line, and if we're talking about vulnerable groups like people with disabilities or renters, that percentage can climb past 30, even over half among renters. Most homes in Jennings are rentals, with an average value of only about $60,000. A figure that in a big city might barely buy you a used luxury car. Decent paying job opportunities aren't always easy to come by, leaving many households living on the edge. Heading west, we reach Marshall, in the heart of Saline County, with about 13,500 residents. The median household income is slightly higher at around $54,000 a year, but still, roughly 1 in 6 residents live in poverty. Homes here are valued at about $140,000 on average, and most are owner-occupied, quite a contrast to renter-heavy Jennings. But that doesn't mean everyone in Marshall is living comfortably. Even with more affordable property prices, modest wages force many families to budget carefully every month. Though its name may sound exotic, life here is far from glamorous. Lebanon is home to about 15,000 people, just enough to keep the town feeling lively, yet still close-knit. The median household income is only about $43,000 a year. And here's where the challenge starts to show. Nearly 20% of residents live below the poverty line. Once an important stop along historic Route 66, Lebanon's economy now leans on light manufacturing, retail services, and seasonal tourism. That means jobs can be tied to the season, with incomes rising and falling accordingly. Housing is relatively affordable, with a median value of around $145,000. But those lower prices also reflect the fact that economic growth and real estate investment here have been slower than in many other parts of Missouri. From Lebanon's Route 66, nostalgia, we head back north to Moberly, a place once nicknamed the Magic City. And that title wasn't just for show. Back when the railroads were booming, Moberly grew at lightning speed. Shops, factories, and new homes sprang up almost overnight. These days, the pace is far quieter. With a population of about 13,000, the median household income here is around $47,000 a year. Nearly 1 in 5 residents live below the poverty line. Jobs exist, but most are in retail, healthcare, or small manufacturing. Enough to get by, but rarely enough to truly get ahead. Homes in Moberly are inexpensive, averaging about $110,000. In stark contrast to Moberly, the average home in Columbia costs around $230,000. With more than 131,000 residents, it's one of Missouri's larger cities. But don't be fooled. Despite its reputation as a vibrant university town, poverty is still a reality here. Roughly 23% of residents live below the poverty line, a high rate for a city with strong educational and civic resources. Here, the economy isn't just driven by industry or trade, it's also powered by education. The University of Missouri is the city's heartbeat, bringing youthful energy and fueling local businesses. But on the flip side, a large student population and low-wage workers are also counted among the city's poor. Leaving behind Columbia's buzz of students and city lights, we head back toward northeast Missouri to Spanish Lake, a large community in St. Louis County. With about 17,000 residents, its close proximity to downtown St. Louis hasn't translated into shared prosperity. The median household income here is only about $46,000, and more than 20% of residents live in poverty. Spanish Lake has a long history. Once famous for its fertile farmland, it later became a suburban community in the mid-20th century. But when St. Louis manufacturing industry declined, many jobs disappeared, and Spanish Lake felt the economic aftershocks. Heading southwest into Phelps County, you'll find Rolla, a city best known as home to the Missouri University of Science and Technology, one of the state's top engineering schools. But behind its academic reputation lies a story of economic disparity. The median household income here is about $46,000 a year, and nearly 27% of residents live below the poverty line. Average home prices in Rolla hover around $160,000. On the outskirts, you'll see modest houses with wide lawns, while near the campus, small student apartments dominate the streetscape. Continuing south along winding roads through the Ozark Hills brings you to West Plains. With about 13,000 residents, it serves as the county seat of Howell County and a hub for surrounding rural communities. Yet, its economic reality is sobering. The median household income is only around $39,000 a year, and nearly 26% of the population lives in poverty. Many people come here to shop, see a doctor, or handle paperwork, but most local jobs are in low-wage retail, healthcare, or small-scale manufacturing. As a result, many families get by on just enough to cover the basics. Housing is relatively affordable, with median prices around $140,000. Then there's Cape Girardeau, or simply Cape as locals call it, home to about 41,000 people. Its historic downtown is lined with red brick buildings overlooking the Mississippi River, giving the city a postcard-perfect charm. But behind the riverfront beauty lies a different reality. The median household income is just $48,000, and roughly 19% of residents live below the poverty line. Cape's economy is diverse, with a major university, Southeast Missouri State, large healthcare facilities, and a healthy retail sector. Still, the wealth gap is clear. The median home price here is around $105,000, slightly higher than in many other small Missouri towns. In Jasper County lies Carthage, a city of just over 15,000 residents. It's best known for its historic architecture, especially the Grand Carthage Courthouse. But behind the charming facade, the local economy is far from ideal. The median household income is about $53,000 a year, and around 20% of residents live below the poverty line. Once a key trading center, particularly for agriculture and the limestone industry, Carthage has faced the same fate as many small Midwestern towns. The loss of major industries slowed its economy, leaving most jobs today in services, small-scale manufacturing, and retail, sectors that often pay low wages. From Carthage's quiet square, we head to Ferguson, a St. Louis County suburb of about 17,000 people. The median household income here is just $43,000 a year, with more than 22% of residents living in poverty. Most available jobs are in retail, service, and transportation, fields that rarely offer wages high enough to cover the cost of living in a metro area. Average home prices range between $110,000 and $115,000, with much of the housing stock made up of modest mid-20th century homes. Many have seen better days and are in need of renovation. Home ownership rates are low, and a large portion of residents rent their homes. Located in Johnson County, Warrensburg has a population of around 20,000 and is best known as home to the University of Central Missouri. While its status as a college town brings certain advantages, economic challenges remain clear. The median household income is about $46,000 a year, and nearly a quarter of residents live below the poverty line, a high figure for a city anchored by a university. Many jobs are in service, retail, or administrative roles at the university, which don't always guarantee steady, well-paying work. The median home price in Warrensburg is roughly $170,000. Next is Neosho, a small city often called the gateway to the Ozarks. Located in Newton County, it's home to about 13,000 residents. Unfortunately, the economic picture here is far from bright. The median household income in Neosho is around $48,000 a year, and nearly 20% of residents live below the poverty line. In the past, Neosho was a hub for trade and small-scale industry, especially tied to agriculture and light manufacturing. But as the economy shifted, many well-paying jobs disappeared. Today, most employment comes from retail, public services, and mid-sized factories, sectors that don't always provide enough income to drive strong household growth. Not far behind Neosho in nickname, Poplar Bluff is also known as the gateway to the Ozarks, but on the southeastern side of the state. With a population of around 16,000, it serves as a service center for surrounding rural areas. The city has a large hospital, a regional shopping mall, and several high schools that draw students from miles around. Yet, being a regional hub doesn't automatically mean better economic conditions. The median household income here is about $42,000 a year, and nearly 28% of residents live below the poverty line, one of the highest rates on our list. Poplar Bluff's economy relies heavily on healthcare, retail, and service industries, with only a small presence of manufacturing. Many available jobs offer modest pay and limited benefits, leaving many families living paycheck to paycheck. Finally, we arrive at Kirksville, a university town in northeastern Missouri. With about 17,000 residents, it's home to Truman State University and A.T. Still University, the oldest osteopathic medical school in the world. But as we've seen in other college towns on this journey, having a higher education presence doesn't mean the entire community thrives. The median household income in Kirksville is around $43,000 as a year, and nearly 30% of residents live below the poverty line, a high figure even when accounting for students. The median home price is about $150,000, with a mix of modest single-family houses, student apartments, and older buildings dating back to the early 20th century.